Hello everyone and welcome to a new series on my channel here, where we're going to be having a first look at Humankind. This is a game that came out about a week ago, and it's sort of like an alternative to Civilization if you had the chance to play that game. The graphics and the design of the game looks fantastic in my opinion. I've only played maybe 2-3 games or so, just to get the vibe going, and I'm starting to fall in love with this game a lot. A lot of appealing things, a lot of things changed, or rather fixed, that wasn't necessarily properly addressed in Civilization, in my opinion. So it's very exciting to see what the developers will come up with in the future for this game as well, introduce more cultures and so on and so forth. I'm not going to go over every single button in the main menu here. Maybe in another video down the road, but I think I will just go through and start a new game here, just to show you a little bit of how the UI at least looks here in the beginning. So we get an option to choose how big we want the map, how fast you want the speed of the game to go, the difficulty of the game, and later on there's going to be maps and more content to come, I'm assuming. And then you can choose how many characters you want to play against, how many AIs you want to set up. You even get the option to customize your character here, give him a symbol. And I think if we go back, you go to my profile, you can actually choose what this person looks like, which this person obviously looks like me, obviously. So let's just start a new game. Let's get going. I've chosen the pace as normal. I've chosen the difficulty as normal just because I am still quite a newbie. I mean, I don't understand how someone could be a professional at this game already, since it came out very recently, unless you've been playing the beta maybe every single day since it came out, or the alpha, or whatever you had access to. But anyways, we'll stick to nation difficulty for now, and see how that goes. And we'll play against 6 people, or I suppose 5, 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah. Okay. Let's dive in and see how it goes.
Our universe contains infinite stories, most of which are about rocks and ice at sub-zero temperatures in a vacuum. Rather boring. However, on a small damp rock, there is a story that bears a second look. It's your story. But the first 4 billion years or so mostly concern amino acids. Not much of a page turner. But then, over time, the amino acids bond together, and things start to get interesting and a bit drier. A certain subspecies of hominid discovers that you can do more with a sharp rock than annoy your little brother. Tools and weapons are invented. The hominids begin to cooperate. Fire becomes a servant rather than an unpredictable force of nature. They learn to tan the skins of animals for clothing.
Pretty cool to see the beginning of everything.
Probably exaggerate their adventures. Eventually, these tribes learn to build shelters and immediately hold the first barbecue parties. This is the dawn of humankind. Struggle and cooperation have been rewarded. The Neolithic era draws to a close. The whole world beckons. This tribe has come far, but the rest of their story is your story. You are the one who will build them into a great civilization.
That's me.
How far will you push humankind? Across the world, nascent societies are taking a deep breath, looking across the landscape and preparing for greatness.
So something right off the bat that I want to mention is that the narrator actually is present throughout the game that you play, which is something that I found quite interesting, because it gives you this sense or this feeling that you're not playing alone per se. Like, you forget that the narrator is there, but he'll pop out in certain scenarios when, for example, you build a certain maybe a certain number of cities, or you build like X amount of districts or something like that, or achieve something in the game. And then he'll just pop up and say, "Oh, wow, you did this," and blah blah blah. And you're like, "Oh yeah, I did." So it sort of gives you this like weird comfort of you're not alone when you're playing the game, and you're not only in your own thoughts, which you clearly are. But I thought that was something interesting to know. Okay, so you start out in the Neolithic era as a nomadic tribe. You started with one unit. The unit is called the Hunting Party. And it is your mission to obviously scout out the area and progress through time, get access to certain technologies, and so on and so forth, like every single other strategy game ever. But this game provides certain depths that the others don't. For example, terrain is very, very important in this game. As you can see, there is some kind of incline over here, and this one is a little bit higher, and then we have sort of more than just 2 or 3 levels. There's like 5 or 6 that you can get, and you have to be very careful where you settle your cities or how you move, for example, because that would judge where you can or can't move, which is very interesting. And that goes very, very, very far into battle as well. It gives you another element to think about when you're trying to maneuver 5 or 6 different units in your one army versus the enemy, which is kind of interesting. So it's going to be very difficult to go over every single button, so I'm not going to do that. We're just going to go and have fun and start out and learn things as we go, and I'll try to explain to my best abilities how the game functions and which buttons to click at least to keep going and learn more, because I myself don't know everything yet as well. So what we can do is we can start moving and exploring. Our mission right now is to gain at least one star. So there are 3 different stars that we can get. We can get a growth star, we can get a knowledge star, and we can get the hunter star. And it tells you what you need to do to achieve that. So for example, grow to 5 population. Right now we are at 1 because we have 1 unit. So we would need to get to 5. We can gather 10 science. We are currently at 0, it says. Or we can kill 5 animals, and that'll get us there as well. So to gain more population, you can either kill animals or you can pick up certain food that just is laying around. So let's just start exploring, and potentially we will see these things. For example, here we have this anomaly. I'm not sure, or discovery. I'm not sure what they call this. Discovery. So if we hover over this and go to it, we can pick it up, and that's going to give us.
Doesn't mean it wasn't worthy of study.
Like I said, the narrator just pops up here and there, and you're like, oh, hello. And that gives us 2 food and 5 influence. Excuse me, 2 science and 5 influence. So we are getting closer to unlocking that star. Now, why is it important to get that star? I will show you why. Now you notice that you don't actually generate science per turn. Well, it's because you're a nomadic tribe. You don't have a city. You don't have an outpost. How can you generate science? You have to settle down. So to settle down, we can claim a territory and build an outpost. So if I zoom out quickly, we see that there are these dotted lines everywhere on the map. So each of the dotted lines represents a specific territory on the map that you can claim. So you can, with each unit in this game, I believe with each unit, you are able to build an outpost which will claim this territory for your own. So you know what? Let's just go ahead and do that. We haven't explored everything, but it's very worth it to start your outpost as soon as possible, because outposts also grow over time, over turn. They take every single tile's yields, and then they grow that way. So if I open up the yields, you'll see that each tile has its own yield. This one has 2 food, this one has 3 food, 1 production, this one has science, and so on and so forth, just like in civilization games. So what we can do is we can click this, and the game automatically shows us kind of the best tiles it thinks with the highest yields. And it also shows you how long the outpost is going to take to build. And that depends on how much production those tiles actually generate. So because it's only 3, it's going to take about 9 turns, which is quite long, but at least the city will grow quite fast. Now we don't have to settle on those tiles. We can move around and see if there's anything better, but generally speaking, it gives you a pretty good idea of where to settle. Now, of course, if we settle closer to the forest over here, we can see that we have more production here, and it's going to take us only 3 turns, but only 6 food. So maybe it is actually worth just discovering a little more. So I'm just going to end my turn, and we're just going to keep going. Maybe it's a little too soon. And here we go. We can see that there is a food anomaly or discovery that we can take. So we're going to go ahead and take that.
Healthy children. I see where this is going.
Thank you, sir. So we gain +5 food. Now, where can we see that? If we click on our unit, we can see that beside the unit that we currently have, we have a little icon saying 5 out of 20. So as soon as we reach 20, we're going to have another unit that we can later split off, and then we'll have 2 units scouting out, and we can go exponentially from there. So let's keep going. Well, like really interesting land here. So now if we click this, let's say and see there's better land to actually settle. So maybe we just keep going, keep exploring. And I suggest going one by one, just because sometimes if you click here and your unit just starts going, you might miss something that's on this hill, for example, and it'll be too late because you've already clicked it. But it's easier said than done because you're very excited and you want to just go to the place. So that is what it is. Ooh, we have a horse tile, which is very, very nice. Horses are very important in this game. They are a unique resource that is required to build specific unique units or emblematic units. I'm not sure. They don't really use unique as a word in this game, but anyways. So we'll pick up this food. Unfortunately, we will be left with no turns. At the beginning, the hunting party has about 4 turns, 4 movement points to go. But as soon as you go on a river, by the way, beautiful little animation here that they got, your movements are actually canceled. So it takes up all 4 in order to move onto the river, even though you started with 4. However, we did gain 15 food from that one little food tile that we've just picked up, which means we get another unit. So we can click on this new unit, and we can click on this button that says transfer, and then select where we would like to transfer this unit to. So we can do here, and then we can just keep exploring with this unit. Huzzah! We can't go up here because the terrain is too stiff. And this is, or steep, not stiff. And that's what I was talking about, that terrain matters a lot in this game. For example, from here to here, it's fine, but from here to here, it's like no go. So planning your battles strategically and tactically is very important in this game, I find. Or at least it's supposed to be. So, okay, let's keep going. What else can we see? We have copper. So, in my opinion, horses and copper at the beginning of the game is sort of what you really want to get. That gives you the ability to build all of the unique units that each individual what do you call it? Each individual culture. I finally remembered. Each individual culture has a specific unique ability, building, and unit, which I will showcase at a later time. And the early era ones need either no resources, either horses or horses and copper, I believe. So having both is very, very advantageous. Okay, let's keep going. And I actually think that building an outpost here is quite strong because 13 food, 13 production is pretty nice. And I think I like this little hill area over here. So that's what we're going to do. And here we go. It's indicating that next turn it's going to get built. All right, and turn. Okay, we see some animals moving around. This mammoth is coming in hot. But not to worry, if you see a peace symbol on the AI unit, that means that the unit will not attack you or is not aggressive. So you may attack the unit and obviously they will retaliate, but you can freely pass by with no zone of control, I believe, and they won't attack you, so you don't have to be really worried about a mammoth. However, we are trying to earn era stars, which is going to be helpful if we kill a few deer, if you know what I mean. So I'm thinking if I go and take the high ground and then attack, I think that would be worthwhile. And I see a little discovery here that we can pick up as well. So I can showcase to you how fighting looks like, because it's very different in this game. You don't just click and your unit goes and fights. It's a little bit more complicated in this game. So if we hover over a potentially hostile unit, it shows you different hexes. It highlights different hexes for the enemy and yourself. So we have these blue hexes over here that it highlights, and the gray ones over here for the enemy. That is where you can deploy your units and the enemy can deploy their units. So let's just do that. We will attack. If you click, for example, by accident or someone attacks you, you always have the option to retreat, unless I believe you're like pinned in a corner of a mountain or something. You can fight manually and you can instant resolve. And I think that using instant resolution is worthwhile when you have a huge advantage. You don't really care, you know no one's gonna die, so just click instant resolution and just go for it. But if it's something closer, where here it says your side is overall stronger, but not that much stronger, so maybe there is a chance. And the reason I'm stronger is because if you click here, the deer has an attack of 8, we see the strength 8, and we actually have a strength of 10. And we are slightly on a high ground, which I believe helps quite a bit. So we will go ahead and do manual battle, and we will deploy on high ground over here. That's fine. And then the deer deployed here. So we can attack it on high ground. As you can see, we can get +4 from high ground, which is quite nice. But I think, yeah, let's just attack it and see how that goes. And then it retaliates with its antlers, and there you go. And then it does its own attack. So it goes on the same, I guess, same level as us, so it doesn't get the high ground penalty, and then just goes for it. But I think what I will do, if I go here, it can go this way and attack me from the side. So I might as well just finish it off. And we can actually see that crossing from river, they get a penalty because the deer is on a river. Being on a river tile is actually quite bad in this game. You don't want to do that because you get mouse. So we're just gonna finish off the deer. Thank you very much. We're going to pick up the food and we're going to say, yeah, we won. So it's going to give us 5 food and 5 influence, which can be used to build outposts in cities and do other things later down in the game. And then after the battle is done, it shows you kind of an overview of what happened, which you can read and marvel on your amazing victories. Okay, and that was the battle. Now it goes more complicated when you have other units like ranged or mounted units, and if you have multiple. So if I click on this unit over here, you can see that you can have 4 units in one pack. So when you attack with this one unit and you have 4 inside, you will have 4 units to deploy and defeat your enemies, which is more depth and more complication, which is always more fun. So we can click this button and this army will go and do what I've asked it to do, which is to build an outpost over here. And automatically it starts looking a lot nicer, taking all the tiles around it to itself. And eventually in 2 turns, it's going to be turned into an outpost, which we can later turn into a city. Now, something interesting happened this turn. We also got an event. Now, we know events from E4. This is a very, very standard thing that happens all the time. But they've introduced this in this game, which is a turn-based game, which is very interesting. And you can read the text and play with a certain level of flavor or role play if you'd like. Or you can just do the same thing as you do in EU4. After the while, all the events are kind of the same, unless it's a flavor event that is only to a certain country, which I'm not sure if they are in this game, but for now, I've seen most of these at the beginning. So what you can do is you can read what kind of benefit you get from each decision that you can take, and then just choose that. So for this one, I think I'll go with this one. It says that a new army refugee next to hunting party will be spawned. or I can get 25% discount on city defense research cost, which is a technology in the technology tree, which is nice. But I think that at the beginning, one more unit is actually quite better because you can, you can explore the map, and it counts as one more unit towards your star, which is very important to get as soon as possible, in my opinion. So let's pick up this new unit, and we'll pick it up, and it has 4 movement points still. So we will use it to try and pick up this discovery over here. I always want to call them anomalies for whatever reason. Okay, a lot of stone fields over here, which is cool. We'll end turn, and let's pick this up. Very nice. We get some influence, and I believe, how much more do we need? We need 20 more influence. So the more outposts you make, the more cities you create, the higher the cost of influence it will be in order for you to create more. So let's keep going here. Let's pick up this food. This unit will go... Can we go up here somehow? Maybe let's go this way. We don't know anything on this side. So we'll try and go... There we go. Some more science over here. And then with these guys, I will go this way. Okay. And turn.
By building an outpost, claiming territory is this easy. The trick, of course, is keeping it.
Very wise narrator comes back to us. Okay, let's pick up more science. Okay. So we have made a few discoveries, and that's called a deed in this game. So there are specific ones per map, I believe. You can find, like, for example, build a wonder, build a railway line between 2 cities, and it can be something simple like be the first to discover a certain natural wonder or something like that. So it looks like someone else has done that, and they've gotten 50 fame. Now, what is fame, do you say? Fame is sort of the most important, how do you say, mana point in this game. It's sort of the unique way that this game runs, or it gives you the unique way to win the game. This game is not all about who's the best in science, or the best in production, or the best in money, or whatever it is. It sort of takes into consideration players playing a diverse game, earning fame here and there depending on what they do. So you can earn fame by collecting these stars, and later on there's going to be more criteria to pick up the stars, and each star that you earn gives you more fame. Now also the deeds give you a bonus as well. So it's, if you're heavily focused on science, for example, great, you're going to get a lot of fame that way, that's fine. But someone who's not that much in science is not really behind you, because they might pick up fame in other areas of the game, which is very interesting, because the person that wins is the one with the highest amount of fame, not, the one who has the most amount of science. Now, I'm not sure what kind of winning conditions this game has. I'm sure it has many, but having the highest amount of fame is often what you want to achieve. Okay, so let's keep going. We're gonna pick up this food. Very nice, 15, great to see. And we'll keep going over here. I'm glad that we picked up this territory. We can see now the borders are blue because we have built an outpost here, so no one else can build an outpost in this territory. However, they can definitely attack my outpost, so we have to watch out. Now let's keep going here. Let's see what we can find. Now we see sanctuaries. So these are places where peaceful animals can spawn, because we can have this peaceful sign. So what we can do is we can actually ransack it, kind of looting it in a way, and the animals will not spawn anymore. So let's actually try and do that and showcase how that works. So we'll do that next turn, because we've run out of moving points. And let's pick up these guys and maybe go this way. I want to see what's on this side. Woo! Here we go. And we'll pick up this food next turn. Oh, what a tease. Let's do that. And we've got only 5. I was hoping it was going to be 15. So we can finally move to the... Oh, we need 2 more. Okay, that's fine. Let's get on this river. Let's move over here. So we get more Water over here. We'll pick up 3 science. We're very close actually for the science one. Usually I get it with the population, but it looks like we might be lucky and get enough science points to move to the next era. Okay, with these refugee units, we are going to showcase the ransacking. So what we can do is we can hover over this and it shows you we get 20 food. So we're actually going to double. We're going to get another unit, which is great, but it's going to take us 1 turn to do so. So we're going to go ahead and tell them to do that. And we'll see them next turn. And we'll keep exploring with these guys. And then end turn. And then here it tells you that the ransack was successful. We can click this button and it's going to locate where the message is coming from. So it's easy to identify when you have multiple. And then as we can see, oh, it actually gave us 15. Oh, it shows plus 20. Interesting. Oh, no, wait, it did give us 20. That was a different army, sorry. So we'll take one of these units. We will transfer so we can keep on discovering more things. And with these guys, we'll go maybe this way, something like that. Oh, wait a minute. We're almost attacked the mammoth here. Yeah, we don't want to do that. Let's go this way. Yeah, lots of animals here. Maybe we could have picked up 1 or 2 more deer to get that other star. Maybe that's what we'll do next turn. Okay, let's do the coast here. Ah, we've met some. Interesting. Okay, I'm sure that next turn it's going to show up over here. This is, who are you? Ooh, does it say? No, it doesn't. Okay, let's see another unit. Let's go here. Okay, okay. More food over here. There we go. Oh, I was really hoping it's going to be plus 10 so we can keep going. Another event, we can do 25% on city defense research cost. That's good. We can do bountiful, which is plus 5 food for 10 turns on our outpost, which is pretty great. Or we're just going to get 2 science. You know what? I think I'm just going to pick up the science here, and that's going to give us that last star. I don't know if this is the best option. Potentially this one is because it's going to grow the outposts a little more. But let's just pick up the final star or the first star and then move over. And here it says we've unlocked it and we've gained 20 fame. And here we can see that there are a few different AIs that have already picked up their stars. In fact, the one that we've met over here, it looks like they already have theirs. And the one in the 3rd place has already picked their culture. Now, what is the culture? So now that we've picked up our first star at the beginning, we have the option to move over to the next era. So to do so, we get to choose a culture for ourselves, for our units, for our people to transcend, basically, to adopt. So we can finally become, for example, the Assyrians or Babylonians or Egyptians or Hittites or Mycenaeans. Nubians, Phoenicians, Zhou, and there's also Harappans and Olmecs, but those ones have been chosen already. And that's why it's so important to get to that first star as soon as possible, especially at the beginning, because if you're, for example, if you wanted to play the Harappans really bad, now you don't have to restart the game because the AI has achieved that goal faster than you. But not to worry, we are still trying to learn the game. I haven't played with all of these for sure. So it will be very interesting to try out something new, and each culture is obviously good at one thing over the other. And I will try and showcase that a little bit over here, and I'll go over all the available ones that we have. So each culture has their own little symbol over here, which kind of shows them what kind of culture they are. For example, the Assyrians are expansionists. They're good at expansion stuff. Babylonians are good at science. Egyptians at building, Hittites at war, basically. The same with Mycenaeans. Nubians are good merchants, along with Phoenicians. And the Zhou are good at basically influence. They are good at growing their empire diplomatically, basically. You can put it that way. They're also quite good at science. So I'm very curious why didn't they say that they're a scientific one. But anyways. And the Harappans are good at growth, they're agrarian, and Olmecs are also good at the influential game. So each each culture has their own unique ability. So this over here is something that you actually get to keep throughout the entire game. What's interesting about this game is that when you choose your culture at the beginning over here, you don't stick with the culture for the rest of the game. Each new era that you evolve in, you get to choose a new culture. Now, of course, you can keep the culture, but there's kind of almost a penalty. Like, you don't get the specific unique unit of that era. You don't get a new special ability or a special building. So it's really incentivized for you to keep changing and adopting new cultures. And I think that's something definitely very interesting and new that Humankind introduces. It's sort of why I can't really say, starting this campaign as the Assyrians, for example, and because in 2, 3, or 4 videos, I will change to become Mongols, for example, and then later the French or whatever, right? It'll always constantly be changing. So I will be sticking to one playthrough as a season, and then each video will count as a episode. So this is going to be season 1, episode 1. But yeah, let's move on, and I'll describe what each individual culture is good at. So the Assyrians are good at expansion. So it gives us +1 movement speed on every single unit from now on. So this stays for the rest of the game. And each time you adopt a culture, a new special ability gets layered on top. So if you don't choose a different culture, of course, you don't get that special ability. So they also have a unique building called the Dunu, which gives you influence, fortification, and gives you strength when units are built. And they have the Assyrian Rider, which requires horses to be built. And I'll let you read all the special abilities that they have here if you'd like. The Babylonians are good at science. They get +2 science per research technologies on capital, which is quite nice. And that sticks throughout. They also have this unique building that gives you more science, and then they have this unique unit that requires copper to be built. Then we have the Egyptians, who give you bonus to industry. They have the emblematic quarter as the Egyptian pyramids that gives you more industry and influence. And they have this special unique unit, which is a ranged unit that requires horses. They have the Hittites that are really good at war, +1 combat strength for all units. That's throughout the game. They have a unique outpost, it looks like. And they have a unique unit that requires horses and copper. And that's what I was talking about at the beginning of the game. If you want to kind of build all the units that are possible, you need horses and copper in your empire. We have the Mycenaeans, -20% on unit industry cost. So you build units cheaper, and they have more experience, and you get a district fortification building over here that gives you industry and stability. Stability is something that's very important, which we will talk about later on. And the unique unit actually costs nothing, which is pretty great. If you found no special unique resources, you can just choose the Mycenaeans and beat them out of your enemies, basically. Nubians are good at money. They have their own type of pyramids that gives you money and industry. And they have the Tassari archer, which is another archer or another unit that doesn't require any special unique resource to be built. We have the Phoenicians with more money and a special harbor over here that gives you money and, well, I guess just money. And they have a special boat that they can build, which is great if you're playing in sort of like island map, I suppose. And then we have the Zhou that give you stability on each district. Now, normally a district costs -10 stability to be built. So having +2 stability on each district basically says it's -8 instead of -10. And maintaining stability is something very important in this game. So this is actually quite great. And their Confucian school gives you +8 stability and gives you a load of science, especially if you're by mountains. So that's pretty great. And they have a special unique unit that gives you that requires horses and copper to be built. So all great options, I think, all unique and different and fun to play. So what I'll do is I'll leave it up to you to choose. Please leave in the comments below which culture you'd like me to adopt and try out, which one caught your eye and you think is going to be very interesting, because it looks like we have copper here, and we already have access to horses, so we can build most likely all of the units if we claim these 2 territories, which I am clearly going to push for, and I'm pretty confident we can get it. And I think I'll end it here. Thank you so much for joining me. I hope that you like this content. If you do, please don't leave. Please don't leave. Please don't forget to leave a like, and please subscribe to my channel if you'd like to see more. I'd really appreciate it. And I'm very glad that you've joined me today, and hope to see you next time. Thank you so much, and have a good one.